have emotions too, Jay. So my thoughts are with him.
There are lawyers. Allegedly.
Sorry.
John.
Sorry, standards.
What did you think when you saw this?
Well, there's two things I always said to my kids.
The CEO caught on a kiss cam at a Coldplay concert, tangled up with his own head of HR. Coldplay didn't just play music that night, they accidentally turned a stadium into a courtroom under blinding lights. On the jumbo screen, Kristin Cabot leaned in, smiling sweetly, hugging a man who was not her husband. And the crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing, because while she was wrapped up in that moment, her husband, rum tycoon Andrew Cabot, was thousands of miles away in Japan. And this wasn't just some harmless concert stunt. This was Coldplay's version of public humiliation. The internet went wild within seconds. Memes, jokes, and TikToks lit up the feed, but Andrew, he didn't post a single word. No rage-filled statement, no defensive spin, nothing. He simply flew home, cut her off with chilling precision, and erased her from his life, his house, his company, even his legacy. Silent, sharp, surgical, it was the end. And now the entire town is buzzing. The richest woman in New England just got wiped off the map by her own husband. But this wasn't just any husband. Andrew Cabot isn't only the CEO of Privateer Rum, a generational empire in Massachusetts. He's also heir to one of Boston's most elite bloodlines, the kind of family once described as so high up, they only talk to God. Andrew and Kristin seemed to have it all. The $2.2 million mansion in Rye, New Hampshire, manicured gardens, picture-perfect kids, Instagram posts that looked like a Hallmark commercial. Until July 25th, when one kiss blew it all apart in front of 60,000 screaming fans and millions more online. One viral post summed it up with pure venom. Kristin Cabot, married once, divorced once, remarried, and now this. A third of her life spent cheating.
And some cheeky notes from the crowd too. He's not my CEO, leaving no room for confusion.
Her trademark, brutal. Because while Kristin swayed under the lights, clutching a man who wasn't hers, Andrew was across the world in Japan, oblivious that his marriage was being ripped apart live on a jumbo screen. The date is burned in now, July 16th, 2025, Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour. The kiss cam froze right on Kristin Cabot, and sitting next to her was Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer. And here's the kicker. He was married too. They looked terrified. The hug was stiff, the energy awkward, like two people caught hiding something in plain sight. And then, Chris Martin himself, Coldplay's frontman, broke the tension with a playful comment that only made the moment sting harder. The internet didn't just react, it detonated. But back in Japan, Andrew Cabot didn't rage online, didn't call the press, didn't even send out a cryptic tweet. He just booked a jet, flew home in silence, and let his actions do the talking. That quiet return wasn't weakness, it was power. By the next night, Kristin's life was in ruins. She was locked out of her mansion, her email wiped clean, her board seat at Privateer Rum gone without a trace. This wasn't just a removal, it was a clean surgical cut. A woman who once held power in Andrew's empire was now left standing outside her own home. Kristin Cabot, 52, once the sharp HR director at Astronomer, had built her world right alongside Andrew. Together, they were the definition of success. The dream mansion in Rye, 2 beautiful kids, perfect holiday cards, endless smiling photos in the garden. But all of that collapsed in one brutal moment on a giant screen for the whole world to see. One kiss, one hug, too close, too public, too damning. Overnight, she wasn't the CEO's wife anymore. She was the face of a scandal replayed on every phone screen across the planet. The clip didn't just go viral, it exploded into digital wildfire. Within 72 hours, over 90 million views piled up. TikTok reactions, YouTube breakdowns, Reddit threads dissecting every glance, every lip color, every tiny gesture. Memes poured in by the second, and talk shows had a field day dragging her name through the mud. Then came the real fallout. Kristin resigned from Astronomer, at first disguised as a leave of absence pending investigation. But soon she vanished from the company entirely. No trace on the website, gone from the staff portal, LinkedIn deleted, Instagram wiped. Her career was erased almost as fast as her marriage, and it didn't stop with her. Andy Byron, the man she clung to on that kiss cam, was forced to resign too. No farewell email, no speech, no thank you post, just gone. His sudden exit left astronomers spinning in chaos and co-founder Pete DiDeggio scrambling to step in as interim CEO. Investors whispered about disaster recovery. Employees were dragged into emergency HR training on workplace boundaries. The ultimate irony. Meanwhile, Kristin was spotted back in New Hampshire alone, stripped of everything but the scandal still glued to her name. No press tours, no sit-downs, no glossy statements. Just Kristin Cat bent over the garden beds, pulling weeds in silence. No makeup, no staff trailing her, and most importantly, no wedding ring. Some whispered the marriage had been crumbling long before Coldplay, that the concert just exposed it. Others insist Andrew's icy, calculated revenge was the single strike that finished her off. Her silence became louder than any fake apology could ever be. Kristin had been tied to Privateer Rum for more than a decade, but in one night, every trace of her was scrubbed clean. Her profile vanished. The board list was wiped. Even cached pages disappeared. This wasn't a breakup. This was a corporate erasure. Insiders are calling it the cleanest wipeout of the decade. No shouting matches, no messy press leaks, no desperate PR spin. Just a cold, surgical shutdown that makes Hollywood scandals look like amateur hour. And at the center, Andrew Cabot, Boston's most ruthless businessman, already lawyering up with the city's fiercest divorce attorneys. Not to fight, to finish. What started as one awkward Kiss Cam clip has turned into a brutal corporate cautionary tale. This isn't love lost, this is an autopsy of power. Honor sliced apart like numbers in a spreadsheet. All from one kiss that never should have happened. You've seen the viral clip, but you didn't see what came after. The chaos behind boardroom doors, the screaming phones, the deafening silence, and believe me, it was far messier than that kiss blasted across a jumbotron July 16th, 2025, Gillette Stadium, Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour. Tens of thousands in the crowd, fireworks in the sky. Then suddenly the kiss cam froze on Kristin Cat and Andy Byron, HR director and CEO. A hug too intimate, too obvious, too wrong. The stadium gasped. Chris Martin himself joked, either they're having an affair or they're just very, very shy. The audience laughed, but TikTok didn't. Within hours, the clip surged past 90 million views. Then TMZ dropped a second bomb, another video, this time showing them slow dancing to Yellow, lips locked in the middle of the crowd. And that's when the internet declared open season. Every angle was replayed, every smirk dissected, every second turned into a meme. That kiss became a global courtroom. Back at Astronomers headquarters, the panic was instant. Both Byron and Cat were shoved on administrative leave, the board scrambling into an emergency meeting before dawn. A memo demanded full executive accountability. The walls were closing in. Interim CEO Pete DiDeggio was shoved into the spotlight as press releases were churned out by the hour. Within 3 days, Andy Byron was gone. No farewell party, no corny LinkedIn post, nothing. Just whispers of legal fights over his golden parachute. And Kristin, she was branded as the woman at the center of one of the messiest scandals of the decade, a downfall replayed in real time by millions. Kristin didn't just resign, she vanished. Her advisory role, gone. Her LinkedIn, wiped. Her Instagram, deleted. It was like her entire digital footprint got erased overnight. And while she was being digitally scrubbed out of existence, the internet turned her downfall into legend. Astronomer, once a billion-dollar data darling, was reduced to the punchline of memes, TikTok stitches, and savage late-night comedy skits. In a desperate Hail Mary, the company tried to flip the script, hiring Gwyneth Paltrow as a temporary spokesperson. A flashy stunt meant to shift attention back to data pipelines and automation, but nobody was buying it. The damage was done. This wasn't just a workplace scandal anymore. It had become a cultural cautionary tale. A company that dreamed of Wall Street glory had been dragged into digital infamy. All because two executives couldn't resist a kiss cam. And while the internet was having a field day, Andrew Cabot, the betrayed husband, CEO of Privateer Rum, heir to Boston's elite dynasty, was still thousands of miles away in Japan. He hadn't even seen the infamous kiss yet, but the world had. All eyes were locked on him, waiting for the moment he reacted. But Andrew didn't play the media's game. No tweets, no press conferences, no frantic PR spin. While TikTok blazed with edits, conspiracy theories, and breakdowns, Andrew stayed silent, handling business meetings over sake, visiting distilleries, and quietly speaking to investors. But make no mistake, on the other side of the world, his name was trending as the man publicly humiliated by a stadium jumbotron. By Saturday, the storm crossed oceans. Andrew's jet touched down in Boston. No paparazzi, no flashing cameras, just a sleek black car, a stone-cold face, and the kind of silence that promised retribution. And when he acted, it wasn't rage or chaos, it was precision. Kristin's personal belongings were hauled out of their $1 million New Hampshire estate like they'd never been there. Designer bags packed, crated, and shipped off by private movers. Her access to bank accounts revoked. Every trace of her role in Privateer Rum stripped overnight. Even her name was deleted from internal company files as if she never existed. One driver whispered to local reporters, she didn't even know what was happening. She just disappeared. Household staff were reassigned in an instant. The gardener now trimmed hedges at Andrew's Beacon Hill bachelor pad, while their personal chef was suddenly plating brunch for Rum executives instead of family dinners. Insiders claimed Andrew had been suspicious for months. The distance, the cold silences, the sudden aloofness. But once that kiss cam zoomed in and exposed Kristin's betrayal to 65,000 people at Gillette Stadium and millions more online, the whispers became undeniable proof. Public, permanent, irreversible. One insider summed it up perfectly. It was the cleanest, coldest cut I've ever seen. No fight, no shouting, just gone. And with that, Kristin Cabot transformed from the polished face of a billion-dollar company into a ghost, erased from rosters, stripped from power, and left untraceable in the blink of an eye. It all started with a single pan of the camera, one shot under the Coldplay lights that changed everything. A kiss that wasn't supposed to happen, and yet it ended marriages, destroyed careers, and rewrote reputations in seconds. They saw the camera. They froze. Then, like two guilty actors caught mid-scene, Andy Byron shifted away while Kristin Cabot's face drained pale, her hands twitching as if she could undo what was already broadcast to the world. But it was too late. 65,000 fans saw it live. The Jumbotron locked it in forever. And Chris Martin, with his timing sharper than a blade, leaned into the mic and joked, either they're having an affair or they're just really, really shy. The crowd roared with laughter. But the internet didn't just laugh, it exploded. Within hours, TikTok was blazing. By day 2, the clip had over 50 million views and memes were multiplying like wildfire. But behind the laughs was a darker truth. This wasn't just two random people caught in an awkward moment. This was Andy Byron, CEO of a billion-dollar tech empire, wrapped up with Kristin Cabot, his own HR director, the very woman in charge of corporate ethics, married but not to each other. And that made the scandal nuclear. By sunrise, jokes filled every feed, but inside their marriages, there was nothing funny. Megyn Carey, Andy's wife, moved like lightning. Faster than any PR team, she scrubbed her social media, dropped his last name, unfollowed everyone, and then went silent. No statements, no pity posts, just a digital blackout. Meanwhile, across the world, Kristin's real husband, Andrew Cabot, the rum billionaire, hadn't even seen the footage yet. But when he landed in Boston, he didn't scream, he didn't tweet, he acted. Within 48 hours, Kristin's world was stripped bare. Designer clothes boxed up, her credit cards declined, her bank accounts frozen, her name erased from Privateer Rum's board. Household staff reassigned overnight like pawns on a chessboard. One insider summed it up. This wasn't revenge. This was a system reset. Cold, clean, irreversible. It was no longer just a scandal, it was a ritual purge. Silence wasn't weakness for Andrew, it was his weapon. No press conferences, no stage meltdowns, just a billionaire showing the world that true power is in what you can erase without permission. The wipeout spread like wildfire. Kristin's advisory role at Privateer Rum, deleted from the site without notice. LinkedIn, gone. Instagram, blank. The charity events she once ruled, invitations quietly withdrawn. Her name was scrubbed from yacht clubs and gala guest lists. Even Palm Beach society whispered that she no longer existed in their circles. Sources say she retreated to her sister's house in Connecticut, a ghost of who she was. No entourage, no driver, no ring, just a hoodie, garden gloves, and silence. One friend called it the most surgical exile they'd ever seen. No closure, no statement, no reconciliation, just canceled spa appointments, blocked calls, and friendships that vanished overnight. In a world where visibility is power, Kristin lost everything. The woman who once couldn't walk 2 blocks without being recognized was suddenly invisible. A friend described it as emotional evaporation. Her fall wasn't just financial, it was social bankruptcy. Meanwhile, Andrew moved on like nothing happened. A few rounds of golf in Palm Beach, calm smiles, no grudges, no drama, just a man who had already built his exit strategy months in advance. Because here's the twist. Insiders claim Andrew had been pulling strings long before Coldplay. More business trips, fewer dinners, texts cut short. Some even say he quietly hired a private investigator. That kiss cam wasn't the revelation. It was just the confirmation. Weeks before the concert, Andrew had been reshaping his empire, revising trust funds, restructuring prenups, tightening legal frameworks. He wasn't caught off guard, he was preparing for the inevitable. While the world thought the Kiss Cam ignited the fire, Andrew knew it was only exposing embers that had been burning all along. The fallout wasn't just personal. 2 families were shattered, 2 companies thrown into chaos. Meghan Carey erased her family photos and left nothing but silence. The $2.2 million mansion Andrew had just bought with Kristin, now an empty shell standing like a monument to betrayal. Neighbors in Connecticut say Kristin keeps her head down, barely speaks, and avoids everyone. Her kids with Andrew remain cut off, her calls blocked, her empire gone. She isn't just out of the house, she's out of the orbit. Astronomers scrubbed her, Privateer scrubbed her, even the Palm Beach elite scrubbed her. From red carpets to garden gloves, she became a ghost in record time. Because in Andrew's world, elegance isn't kindness. Elegance is execution. 10 seconds on a stadium screen was all it took to bring down an empire. Kristin, gone. Andy Byron, disgraced. Meghan Carey, vanished. Andrew Cat, triumphant. And the Coldplay Kiss Cam, it still replays again and again, cementing this scandal in internet history. And that's the kind of story you don't just watch once, it echoes forever. So if you're hooked on the shocking truth behind scandals like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next one.